Welcome, AfterBuzzers, to the Netflix original knockout series, The Haunting of Hill House. We are covering part one, the characters of Theo, Shirley, and Steven tonight. We are very excited. Do not click away.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Oh, scary, ominous music.
Ooh, spooky.
Oh, spooky. I wish we had darker lights, but we don't. It's bright in studio. What's up, everybody? We are very, very, very excited. I say three varies because there are three of us here on the panel.
This is correct.
We are very excited to be covering The Haunting of Hill House, one of the most epic pieces of television that I personally have ever watched. I am joined by two beautiful ladies. I'm going to have them introduce themselves, please.
Hey, what's up? I'm Taylor Gates, and I agree. This was mind-blowingly good.
Yes.
Yeah, I would agree too. Hey guys, I'm Krista Flentje.
So a little bit of The Haunting of Hill House, really quick, just to set the mood, shall we? No live organism can continue for long to exist sanely under conditions of absolute reality. Even larks and katydids are supposed by some to dream. Hill House, not sane, stood by itself against its hills, holding darkness within. It had stood for more than 80 years and might stand for 80 more. Within walls continued upright, bricks met neatly, floors were firm and doors were sensibly shut. Silence lay steadily against the wood and stone of Hill House, and whatever walked there walked alone. Now, just based off of that amazing quote from Shirley Jackson's 1959 novel, setting off the tone of the series, what were your guys' initial reactions?
I love a good voiceover, so
Yeah.
I was into it. I think it definitely set the mood and the tone of it really well, and sort of like the isolation effect, like the walked alone line especially, about, this is a show about people who very much feel isolated from each other and are having a lot of trouble forging those connections after this, traumatic event in their lives. And so I think it was a great idea to, start off with a quote to pay homage to Shirley Jackson, and I think that was a great one to pick.
Yes.
I agree. And how it showed like the family pictures as we were going through it, which this house is like the embodiment of this family as it goes on throughout the episodes that we watch. And I just think it set the tone, and you knew from that start, you were like, oh, this is going to be good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest with you guys. When I first started watching this show, by first started, I mean like the first minute, 2 minutes, because after that it just encompasses you and just captures you. But I was a little weary because if we know anything about Netflix, some of the shows that they push out, especially horror shows, don't really hit the nail on the head. This one thankfully did. It literally checked off every box that I can expect from a horror show. And I say horror very loosely because it was more suspenseful, more thriller, but it did have jump scares. It did have really creepy moments that will haunt you, pun intended, for probably the rest of your life. It did for the Crane family. And it was created, directed, and edited by Mike Flanagan, who's done other projects such as Hush, Oculus, Gerald's Game, and Taylor, you were telling me that a lot of his actors that he's used in other projects, he's infused into this.
Yeah, obviously, Hush has his wife, who is Katie Seagal. Theo.
Hush is
wonderful.
Hush is literally my favorite scary movie ever.
Is it?
I haven't seen it. To be completely transparent, I don't do horror
seen it
usually.
either,
You guys
so I
have
need to watch it.
It's brilliant.
I love horror. I
It's
just don't know
brilliant.
how I haven't. Yeah,
I
it's on the
haven't
list.
really watched horror before this, to be completely honest with you. What drew me to it was the cast, and then I've started watching more horror after this. Like I've watched both Conjurings after, so it kind of got me, in the horror mood. But
Which is true. I have my roommate. I watched it with her, and she hates horror. She won't watch anything, but she loved this. So I think that was. It's just when it's in an episode like this, and you get to know the characters, and you're intrigued by what's going to happen next. It's not just like the horror part that gets you, and it's the storyline of it. So everyone loved it.
Yeah, I love
that's
horror.
What's great
so
about it.
as soon as I saw that it was a horror genre, I was like, oh, I have to watch it. Anything zombie, gory, horror, whatever, I'm all about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was pleasantly, obviously, surprised, which is why we're here. Let's dive in, you guys. So the quote that I started off the show with was voiceovered by Steve, the character Steve, and he was the, I want to say, pessimist of the entire season, and I didn't not like him, let's be clear. I just didn't know, compared to his siblings, there were other likable characters.
Agreed. He was honestly on my list. I think it took me the longest to really vibe with him. Yeah.
Yeah. And we start off the show with Luke and Nell as children. And we'll get into their characters, but I want to talk about the ghost that we first see, which is the bent neck lady. That's the first ghost that we are introduced to
and
of
a great
the
one
show.
to start off with.
Thank you, because that storyline is insane. And I don't want to dive too much into it, but
which is probably why we start off with her, if you think about it. Yeah.
I agree with you. And I love, and Taylor has some favorite quotes later on also, but the dreams, the way that the father, who is young Elliot from E.T., if you guys hadn't known that, we do, and I think it's brilliant. But the way that he starts it off.
I loved that.
Just this ominous kind of like, but it's so, I know I'm jumping around, I have so many thoughts, you guys. The way that a parent explains something to a child, it's so unfair, I want to say.
Yeah.
Like, it's brilliant, and you want to protect them, obviously, but it's so unfair because you're totally discrediting their feelings.
And their intelligence, because sometimes they're a lot smarter than you think they are.
Yes.
But the way he did it was so perfect, and he's told all the kids that story, because each one of them, even Stephen, who was still in the doorway, would, chime in, and he'd be like an ocean, and the kids had heard it so many times, so it's just... It was cool seeing his parenting, which we get a lot of how they parented throughout the series, or the episodes. But yeah, I loved that sequence, the whole dream. I liked it a lot.
I agree, and I mean, I think that the father and Olivia are that's what makes them such an interesting marital dynamic, because she is the one that kind of does very much validates their feelings, very much is more feels more like an equal to them, just because she has all this sensitivity. And so I think it's really cool to see them kind of contrast, but then also work as a unit.
Yes.
And I like that we kind of see them doing the same sorts of things. Like, she comforts people after the nightmares, and she spends the night with Nell when she sleeps on the couch. And so I just like to see them work together and see their different styles, because it's really interesting, and it makes sense why they would go together, since it's the whole opposites attract thing.
I
agree. The parenting was on point. Them together, it was perfect. He was more level-headed, and he'd keep especially when the kids were talking about the nightmares, which any normal parent would be it's just, go back to bed, dreams are. But she was she could relate to the kids, so she was sensitive to that, and it was interesting to see that work out.
I'm glad you were both using the word sensitive when it comes to Olivia, the mother's character. Put a pin in that. I also liked how they balanced each other out as parents. I also liked that they were flawed when it came to the kids.
Yes.
They weren't all lovey-dovey and cozy with them. It was if you did something wrong, you need to be punished, and you go and clean up after yourself after you wrote on the wall, which you really didn't. But at the same time, I like that they were flawed, because it made me relate to them a little bit more. It wasn't just this lovey-dovey couple and everything's perfect. No, you can initially sense that they are stressed, that they don't want to be here, but this is the last chance before they can build their forever home.
And also, that's a lot of kids. They're not going to be perfect at all times.
Exactly.
So.
Yes, I agree. We are introduced to the Red Door in literally the first episode, which...
Again,
pretty much gives us everything that we need to the last episode. But it's very haunting. There are a lot of things, obviously the haunting of Hill House, there are a lot of little things that were haunting. I don't know what other word to describe it as. And the Red Room is one of them. It's just one of those just persistent things in the background. It's always locked. Why is it always locked? There's all these questions. Why are they mine?
Which I was with them. I was like, what is in that room?
Yes.
I need to see it right now.
There it is right there. The Red Door. It's creepy and ominous and moldy around.
Right? Come on.
What I did appreciate, though, is I feel like sometimes shows will withhold something for so long that it gets annoying. I didn't feel that with this show, though, because they mention it just enough to keep your interest, but it's not the entire center of the show. There's so much else going on that I didn't feel like I wanted to skip past to just find out what was in there, which I feel like is a big problem with some shows. So I just think they did a really good job balancing suspense, but with character development and just keeping the pace really roller coaster.
There was just so much information coming at you at all times that you'd forget that you wanted to know what was behind there, because you were learning about 15 other things.
And we don't even get into the Red Room until episode 9.
Yeah.
So, like you said, Taylor, to keep that suspense up with just a door is brilliant. But then the payoff of it is so worth it that you're like, well, I don't even care that I wasn't even in this room this first 8 episodes. I want to get back to Stephen really quick, because like I said, he's the pessimist of the show. And initially see that when he's helping Irene deal with this haunting, and I don't want to spend too much on her storyline, but he debunks her ghost story very quickly.
Yes.
Was that fair? Did you think that she saw what she saw, or does he explain it to a point where you're like, oh, I guess she is just saying things?
I believe she believes she saw what she saw, but I don't know. As a skeptic, which he is, I mean, obviously he's gonna walk right in and take it. He's gonna be like, no. But then again, how is he? At what point do you decide which ones to take? Because he's such a skeptic. I feel like he doesn't believe much of the things he hears.
Yeah,
and he's making a profit off of it. So.
I agree, and I think that since we're so on board with everyone that does experience all of these things, and we're like so believing of them, that it's kind of like maybe that's where our dislike of Steve comes from, because it's like, how dare you, kind of discredit this?
them.
But I think it is very necessary to have that sort of grounding force that is like contradicting everyone and kind of playing off against everyone. So even though he was like a little insufferable at times, like having him in the center of it made so much sense from a story perspective.
Yes. And then there's this added tension of Nell's phone call while he's helping Irene, and he ignores it, obviously because he's working, but I think that there was another, obviously we find out that there are other emotions behind him pressing decline. And then we're switched over to Shirley, because she also gets the same phone call, and it's a voicemail, but she's helping somebody at that point. So she also doesn't answer the phone call. So immediately you can tell from episode 1 that this family is fractured, if you will. They are ignoring each other. They don't really want to call each other back. I mean, it's classic, like, I really don't want to talk to you, so I'm going to ignore your phone call. What was your initial take of the family? Because at this point, we don't really know anything that happened. We were teased with the last night of Hill House and how Steve was brushed out by his father, but other than that, not much. So what were your initial reactions to why is this family so fractured?
Yeah, I know we didn't get enough context at that point to really know, but as we started to learn, and you get a little more of it in the first episode, it's just each of them had their own thing going on too in that house, and everyone was seeing something different or personally affected by something different. So I just think, it was like the mystery around the house too. I don't think anyone really knew what was going on, so it was just the confusion of it. And
And I feel like I really played into whatever they presented to me. I was like, oh, clearly he's the one that plays the role of the skeptic, and he plays the role of the addict. But that's why I think it's so cool that they have all of these like character-driven, character-centric episodes, because it's like, oh, that's not just what he is. And they make everyone more and more dimensional with each episode, especially, when they get their sort of moment to shine, because everyone sort of has a spotlight episode,
which was so necessary.
Yeah,
I really needed to actually. Every character, like Luke, I didn't know what to think of him until we got his episode where we really dived in. Same with all of them. So I think like Theo, you could understand her more once we got it. So that helped so much.
It just felt very like Orange is the New Black to me, which I think is really cool. Like, I wonder if that was a source of inspiration. Like,
I'm
sure.
It did feel like that.
Yeah, it wasn't like obviously the first show that's ever done that, but I think that that's like the first show that I had seen that had done that is Orange is the New Black, and so I love it when shows kind of give everyone their moment.
Possibly.
Well, speaking of different shows, hey, AfterBuzzers, our network produces after shows for nearly all of your favorite TV shows. From dramas, reality TV, sci-fi, and more, there is no network that works harder to serve television fans. But we need your help. We're asking that you please subscribe to one or more of our YouTube channels. By subscribing to our channel, YouTube will suggest content that's tailor-made for you, and you'll help AfterBuzz continue to grow. And if you're worried about pesky notifications, don't be, because they're optional. So hit that subscribe button now for this channel and check out our AfterBuzz YouTube channels as well. Let us know you did so in the comments, and we'll thank you on air. For now, thanks for being the best fans and for helping us be the ESPN of TV talk.
We love you guys. We do the show for you, obviously. This is why we're here. If you guys are listening to us on iTunes, give us a 5-star rating. If you're listening to us on Spotify, we love you. If you're watching us on YouTube, give us a thumbs up.
Yeah, comment on our... We're here listening.
Yeah, we've got some people in the live chat. Obviously, my two lovely ladies are on the live chat right now. We're very excited to interact with you guys because this is going to be a journey. It's a 4-part journey. We are very excited about it. Taking a step back before we went on that little break, Full disclosure, we obviously haven't read the Shirley Jackson novel. It is from 1959, which I'm sure it's amazing.
Now I want to, yeah.
I do too, exactly, and I hope that a lot of people do. I'm pretty sure that I will. But I wonder if she broke down the characters and highlighted the characters the same way that Mike Flanagan did in the series. I wonder if she did like chapters of each character.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I know that the book is very, very different.
Yes.
And this was sort of a jumping off point for the show, I think, and it was kind of a different sort of interpretation.
They based it off of it, but Mike did his own thing with it.
Yeah. Speaking of a jumping off point, as a pilot episode, just episode 1, I thought that this was very good. I mean, I feel when you get into pilots in general, they're very hit or miss. You don't know what you're going to get. And as a pilot episode, I thought this was pretty solid.
Yeah, they had me sold from the start. I was like gonna finish for sure. Yeah.
I felt a little bit overwhelmed, but I think that's really sort of like how you feel, after every pilot, especially with like 7 main characters.
Yes.
But overwhelmed, I think, in a good way. Like you said, I just really wanted to keep watching and explore them all further.
Right, especially since they were doing these, episode 1 is predominantly around Steven, and then we get into episode 2, which is predominantly around Shirley. Now, but before we get into Shirley's character, I want to kind of wrap up Steve's character in the first episode, because the episode is called Steven Sees a Ghost. And I thought that Steven Sees a Ghost was when he was dealing with Irene. No, that's not the case.
Yeah.
He actually sees his dead sister because Nell winds up killing herself, obviously, by the end of the episode, and he's literally speaking to her. And I could not. What do you do? It's like, what do you do in that instance? I mean, how do you navigate that, especially from somebody? And I love that it happened to Steven, because for it to happen to somebody who is it's mental illness. It's they're all crazy and all this stuff. For it to happen to him,
I love that it happened to him because it continues to happen to him, like when they're in the funeral home, and he just brushes it off as him needing to get his crap together. Whereas everyone else would be like, holy, this isn't okay. This is the house again. But since he didn't experience what the others did, to him it's him like hallucinating, and he always brings up like the mental illness, and I think a part of him is like, please don't have what my mother had, kind of thing. So I love that it happened to him because it really challenges his skepticism.
It does, and I think it kind of confirms for the viewers in a way that it's like, this isn't just mental illness. Like, it's a ghost.
Yes.
Like, these are supernatural beings in here.
Let me ask you guys this. Did we expect, because we see Nellie as like a little girl. We see her as an adult. We see that she's struggling, obviously what happened to her at Hill House. Did we expect to see her die at the end of the episode?
So quick?
Yes. Because I certainly did not.
It's what got me hooked, though. I mean, I needed that. Not that I needed that to watch, but I was like, oh, now I can't. I need to hear everyone's stories, especially Nellie's, how it ended, how they got there. I loved, and just like the crossovers, too. They did such a good job from being adult to like going back to kids. Like, it always would be, knocking on the door, and then it'd go and they'd be kids, and then it'd go back to real life, and it was just,
Speaking of that, hi, this is Brianna from the booth up here. I just wanted to bring up, I have some of the side-by-side comparisons of the casting of adult to child. So this one's Steven.
Wow.
It's brilliant.
Like look at that. That is my favorite. Yeah. That is right on the money.
That's pretty on point too.
Wow.
And I love that little girl. I forget what else she's in.
Grace.
But
she's in I, Tonya.
That's it, I, Tonya. Thank you.
Luke.
Oh,
so cute.
Look how cute
I feel like Luke was the one that struggled the most for me.
I didn't like that one,
Because I feel like wears his glasses, and because they're so thick, when he's a little boy, obviously his eyesight would only have gotten worse. So I'm like, and he's a drug addict, so I'm pretty sure he's not putting in contacts every day like a responsible contact lens wearing person.
Yeah.
So I would thought that he would have glasses.
That's fair.
And then we have Nell.
Aww.
So cute.
And then just to throw it in, we have the dad.
There,
wow.
yes, I agree that can you do the mom? Because I think she looks exactly the same. I wonder why.
She didn't age.
She looks great. Carla, I always butcher her last name. Carla Gugino. I don't know.
Carla G.
Yeah, we'll just call her Carla G. She's beautiful. She's
wonderful.
Yes.
Absolutely stunning. Brianna, thank you so much for pulling up those side by sides. Timothy Hutton, who plays the older dad character, he's just amazing as well.
We have some people active in the chat, and first of all, Alana's saying a lot in here, but she said she recommends the novel because it's very different. They are not siblings in the book. And she also said each character represents stages of grief, and Stephen is denial.
Yes.
Oh,
I did read something about that, and I'm glad that, thank you,
that is
Alana,
awesome.
for pointing
Thank
that out. Yeah, each character breaks down into a different level
which
of grief.
makes sense.
Oh,
I love
wow.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, and Stephen is denial, which makes sense because he's the pessimist of the entire
And it's
of all
all
the siblings.
relating around their mother's, what they think is a suicide.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
so then
great.
we go into Shirley, and Shirley's representation of one of the stages of grief is anger. And rightfully so, because she's just angry at everything. She's angry about paying for Luke's rehab. She's
Got on
angry
my
about
nerves sometimes.
Did it really?
There was just sometimes with her, I know I shouldn't have, but like with her and Luke, and I was just like, give him another chance. I know she has so many, but like the wedding scene, which we get into, it's just, I just feel like she was so tough on Luke.
She is.
Someone
feel
needed
like,
to be, but it was just, it hurt me. It really did.
And I feel like personally I could sympathize with her because she's the one that is trying to hold everyone together.
Yes.
Like
I feel
the
like
new
that's
mother figure.
Yeah, that's kind of exactly.
Yeah.
So I felt bad for her. And she's trying to raise her own kids and
You're
have a
right,
husband
you're
and
right.
have this other immediate family
I was just being too
Yes.
soft. It's just so tough.
No, in disagreements. It's very good.
I think what I love about Shirley in the second episode, we'll call it Open Casket, which is fascinating because she's a funeral director.
Yeah.
And-
Because of that.
Right. And I need to ask you guys this. Do you think it's a little, I don't want to say weird, but at the same time I want to use the word weird, that she grew up around, I want to say death, because essentially there's all these hauntings, so you know what you're dealing with. It's death. To grow up and deal with more death. Do you think it was an odd career choice?
I think it's fitting too, and I think in a weird way it's sort of therapeutic for her. My friend and I were talking about Shirley's decision to actually be the one who like does the makeup and all the I don't know any funeral lingo, but all of the things to prepare Nell's body, and she was like, I find that really, really odd. I feel like that would just be too tough, and I'm like, that actually makes sense to me.
Me too.
Because it's like that's her way of like, you know, having therapy for herself almost. Like she can fix this one thing. She can't fix anything else necessarily, but like she can make her look good for this thing. This is her job. She gets in the zone. So I don't know. I feel like I understood her character.
I agree. No, I did like that she decided to do that because also that's your job, and she, in her head, she's the best at it, and that, you know, who else would she trust to take care of her own sister? It just made so much sense to me that, especially after the funeral flashback to her mom, and she was like so afraid to go look at the body, and then the funeral director, she was like, oh my God, you made her look like her.
Yes.
And he was like, that's my job. So she was, you know, that's her job.
I love the similarities from when she was a little girl to what she did for the little boy named Max in the present.
Oh, yeah.
I also love what you said, Taylor, about her having to do the makeup for her sister while she was dead. But she also did it for her wedding. And I love that, yes, Shirley might not be the oldest, Stephen is, but Shirley seems to be the one that has her stuff together, and she takes control and she takes charge of what needs to be taken care of. Just like she handled Luke with the whole wedding.
Yep.
Now, that in specific, really quick, I need to ask you guys this. Luke is obviously the addict of the family. They established that pretty early. Do we like how Shirley handled that? Do you think that Luke should have been invited to the wedding?
It was his twin sister's wedding. He should have been allowed. I get why she did it, and she wanted her day to be perfect, and she's always in control. So I think in her head, letting Luke in, things could have went into chaos. She wasn't. You don't know what's going to happen, but I think at the end of the day, that should have been up to Nell. And also that bond that they have. I don't have a twin, but I could imagine she wanted him there. Any sibling, but your twin brother.
And especially if your mother can't be there, then you should have every member
and
of your
I'm sure it hurt because she didn't know that he tried to show up. So in her head, he just never came. Yeah.
I just love that. And then the juxtaposition between her doing the makeup for her wedding, her sister's wedding day.
Those crossovers are so
that's like the
good.
most crushing moment to me.
Yes.
I'm like, oh man, that got me in the heart.
And then speaking of crossovers, we talk about Shirley and dealing with death and how it's so therapeutic for her. But then we look at her in this scenario with the kittens. And
those kittens.
It's just, that was, once again, another word, haunting. Just scenario of, wow, okay, you find these kittens, you want to help them, and then they're diseased.
Mother them. Which,
that's, it's.
So did they have to do that to the kitty's eyes?
Yeah, the cockroaches?
Yeah, and then when he crawls out of the mouth, everything with those cats, I was like, I don't ever want to look at a kitten again.
Well, the funny thing is that, once again, I'm going to go back to the parents being flawed, is because they have to lie to her to protect her essentially, but they wind up taking the kittens and obviously killing them in the forest. Yeah, because they're diseased. Taylor, you said that this is one of your favorite lines.
Yes, just the delivery. It's like a kind of a serious moment, but I think that it was meant to maybe be a little comedic, where they're fighting, the parents are fighting, which I also love that they kind of show that. But Olivia's just like, you let her keep a box of diseased kid in her bedroom. I was like...
Which is like so perfect, because that would be what the dad does, and the mom's like, but if you had thought this through, we wouldn't be here right now.
Yes.
Yeah.
And just like out of context, I'm like, what a line. Like, they really let her say that.
Yeah. In this horror show that we're watching. Yeah.
Yeah, I just love that once again the parents are so flawed, but they balance each other so well. I don't know if the kittens had that deep of an impact on Shirley.
No, it was more the mom probably.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that the mom took it more to heart than Shirley did. I think she was too young to fully understand.
I'm sure, it's gonna skew, it's gonna mess you up a little, but you're gonna get a little older and be like, pets die, that happened. Yeah.
Yeah, we talk about the mom a lot, and I want to get back to what you said, Taylor, about her, and you, Krista, you guys mentioned her being sensitive, and they talk about it in the first episode. She talks to Hugh about these color streams, if you will, but she says there's something about her having the color streams in this house. They're not colors, they're just pitch black, and that kind of sets off the tone on, and me having to rewatch it over and over again. I was like, why was she the one to be haunted? Why was she the one to be targeted? And obviously they were all kind of plagued by these ghosts, but she was the one.
The girls, too, in particular.
Yeah, mostly all the girls, but Olivia was the one that really got it the hardest. And we just find out that she was always been sensitive to spirits around her. So I can understand she has like I don't want to say a door open, but it was definitely unlocked, and they just tapped into that.
Yeah.
Just sad.
Easy prey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do we like how she and the whole porch light situation and how they kept that kind of throughout the series? There was this whole coming home, if you will, theme throughout the series of when Nell writes her name on the wall and she gets in trouble for it, but underneath it says "Come home, Nell." And then the mother says, when I flash the porch light twice, that means you come home. And then we see in the Forever Home model, when Shirley at the end of this episode, you see it, the two lights to come home.
Goosebumps again.
It's like, and then all of these episodes lead to all of them going back to the house. It's like all of this foreshadowing of what is happening. And you don't see it until you watch it again. Yeah. You talk about it, and you're like, "That's why."
The foreshadowing is great. Another moment of foreshadowing, or even just mirroring that I liked, especially in this episode, was when Olivia was explaining to Shirley why the kittens died, and she was like, because they're not supposed to be here without their mom. And I was like,
yes.
Wow. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that you brought that up, because that's a brilliant point. Yeah, technically we're not supposed to be without our moms.
No.
It's once again just foreshadowing of what they're going to have to deal with. Moving into episode 3, now we get into Theo. Now, Theo is one of my favorite characters in the entire show.
Me too.
I don't know why I don't know if it's her gift that I just really intrigues me, or it's just her as a person.
The character, I just loved her character.
She just has all these walls up, and we find out that she has this gift pretty early on, and she uses this gift as a child psychologist to help children. I think it's brilliant.
Yes. Coolest gift. Out of all the daughters have something different from their mom, and hers was by far the coolest. I mean, Shirley gets the sleep talk. Nell gets to travel through time.
You like macaroni.
No, I loved hers.
I did too. And just something about a character that seems so hard and guarded on the outside, but it's really this genuinely super soft and sweet person.
Yeah.
Love characters like that who are not at all what they seem on the surface.
Yes, but not to put a damper on her gift, but the only reason she has the gift is because she got touched. Now, granted, she might have been a little sensitive to these spirits beforehand, but it's because of that touch, that holding of the hand when she's sleeping. She thinks it's Nell, it's actually a ghost.
Yeah.
And that's what she uses to go forth and use this gift for positive, yes. But that sucks, man. This ghost kind of put all of this pressure onto you that you have to wear gloves for the rest of your life because you can't touch anybody.
Well, and I also, I love that her mom, one of the last kind of just Theo mom moments they had was her giving her those gloves to be like, hey, it'll keep the cold away or whatever. And still we see her in adulthood and she's still with the gloves. And it's just,
In a way, I always felt like Theo presented as the most mature character. I don't know, just the way she even interacts with, like, Mrs. Dudley. Like, she stands right up to her no matter what, and it's very protective. Like, yes, I think Shirley is the most maternal, but she also just seemed a little more immature.
She seems, and I think Theo seemed like the bravest one, going to find the downstairs, like the basement door, and proving that Luke was telling the truth. You're right, she was.
Yeah.
But we also have to think, Theo also has, yes, we talked about Shirley taking control of situations, but Theo is also open more to these things, and it's probably because of her gift. But Shirley and Stephen, both as the eldest, are very, Stephen more so skeptical and closed off than Shirley. Shirley still is a little bit closed off, but Theo, once you break that sibling age, it's like Theo was like, okay, now I fully understand where, and I don't know, do you guys think it's because of her gift and because she can actually see or feel what these things are or mean when she touches it is why she's so open to it, or do you think that without the gift she'd still be open to it?
I think that the gift is definitely part of it, but also just the fact that she's a middle child. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's kind of the deal in some ways.
All of them, yeah.
Yeah, I think that a combination of that and just probably, you know, who she is as a person all kind of factor into that.
Plus, she could relate more to the younger kids because she'd believe what they were saying, whereas the older kids would be like, you know, it's just you. It's you're imagining.
I also feel out of all of the children and all the characters, if you will, she's the one that really, like, keeps the story going because she can see what they can't. She can feel what they can't. Just, for example, Luke in the dumbwaiter. The parents don't believe him. They obviously chalk it up to, oh, you were just scared, it's just the dark. But she can feel, she can sense that there is something down there. There's something wrong. And that just kind of propels the story forward even more. So I love Theo as a character. And then we go into her sexuality. And the wedding scene is just brilliant.
It was so good.
I mean, you can't...
The reaction was just perfect. Oh, you didn't know I liked Bridesmaids?
And having Shirley's eyes, just her facial expressions were so
sweetest
funny.
thing.
She was like, what?
I think what I love about it is that they decided to tackle the LGBT stance. I don't know if in the novel...
Actually, yes.
She is.
Yes. So in
Shirley Jackson's 1950s novel? That is awesome.
Shirley Jackson wanted to make it explicit, or toyed with the idea of making it explicit. And apparently they have, like, an unnamed partner, they call them.
Interesting.
Is what they say. So it's, like, very, very implied.
My roommate.
Yeah, it's very implied, which is awesome. Like, yes, Shirley Jackson.
That is so great.
For 1959. Yes, that's brilliant. I'm so glad that you told me that, because that makes it even more intriguing. I really do want to go read this novel.
What did you guys think of the dad being like, oh, your mother guessed, like, from her age of, like, 8 or something like that?
I love that. I feel like parents, especially mothers, always know about their children, especially their sexuality. And it just reinforces the fact that these parents are very present and they know their children very well.
They were great parents. There's no, like, denying that.
Yeah. So I love that. Thank you for that question, Brianna, because it's a very valid question. But I do love that the fact that the show stuck to her being a lesbian, because they could have easily straight washed it, if you will. They could have easily made her a heterosexual character, but I'm glad they didn't. I love that they didn't. And, you know, not only is she a lesbian, but then all of this other stuff comes out of her sexuality when she messes with Keven, and there's that whole thing with her and Shirley. There's like a whole world to delve into, which we will probably do on part 2, part 3. You guys, this is a four-part show, and we are very excited to talk more about all of these characters in general. I do want to not close, but, like, just talk about the fact that the money situation. Stephen came to them about, you know, essentially profited off of their stories to make money off of this novel. And Shirley, obviously being the controlled one, being the one that's most put together, didn't want anything to do with it. How did you guys feel about, A, that decision, and B, everybody else's decision to take the money or to do whatever they did with the money?
I got where Shirley was coming from because, he was the one that wasn't awake for, like, what did Theo say, 99% of it he was asleep for? So it's basically he's telling their story that he wasn't awake for and then profiting off of it. Profiting off their mother's suicide, basically capitalizing off of all of these emotions this family's going through, and he's, like, the only one that basically came out unscathed. But I also am like, he's gonna write it anyways, so, and it's your story, so take the money.
She's like so stubborn, like to a fault sometimes, whereas it like kind of like bites her in the butt and like
you need it.
She
take
needs
it.
that,
Yeah.
and the fact that I actually really like the part of her character, going back to episode 2 a little bit, just the fact that she's giving all of these services away for like big discounts, like more than 50% of
and
that.
her husband's like, stop, please stop.
Yeah, but I'm just like, you know how much good you could do with this money, you know? And so she's just like, she's very much
stubborn.
sticks
I like
to her
that,
guns, very stubborn, but sometimes it's like, against her own best interest.
Yes. Well, speaking of good things to do with the money, we look at Theo's character, and she got her PhD from it, and she's helping other children.
Also, she got her
to
PhD
deal
with 15. Is that what it was?
with
How much did they each get?
Oh,
it was
I
like
don't know.
15,000 was the check he wrote it, and I was like, "You're gonna go get your PhD with 15,000?"
She's got scholarships.
Yeah.
She's very smart.
Well, I think it was like 8% of the royalties.
Oh, okay.
So
I
I think
was
it was
like,
a
girl.
continuous like
Okay, that makes
check
sense.
income.
Oh yeah, because they did mention they're still getting royalties. That makes a little more sense.
Yeah, I did also want to touch on Theo and helping that child that she was helping with,
yeah.
Mr. Smiley. I thought that was pretty creepy as well.
That got me. That storyline.
Yeah.
Gosh, just like so much she sacrifices to see all these things, like with, you know, touching the couch there and even touching Nell's body and having to understand that. Like she's so selfless.
I love selfless is the perfect word to describe Theo, because I'm sure using this gift is not the most comfortable. I'm sure it's not the most easiest thing to do, but she opens herself up to do that, to help people and to understand people. But what's fascinating is that she builds up all of these walls to close herself off to everybody else.
Yeah.
She'll use it when she wants to, and just like with the whole fight between her and Nell scene, when Nell said, you know, you have your limits with yourself, but with everybody else, but not with yourself. And I think that's fair and valid, and I also don't blame Theo for that.
I don't either.
Because having come what she's came through, but also because of her gift and seeing what others can't and feeling what others can't, I would be closed off too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You guys let us know who your favorite characters are. I want to know who you guys' favorite characters are.
I think it's Theo.
Yeah.
I think I just, for some reason, she's stuck out to me. I love them all. Like Nell, I really liked her storyline and everything, but I just think as the episodes went on, Theo was always the one that, like, stuck out to me. I just related with her. I really...
Yeah, I
liked
like
her.
all of them in different ways.
It's so hard, yeah.
I really like Olivia, though. I think she's so fun to see.
Oh, yes.
Which, like, I understand, like, the main plot is, like, her dying, but I was like, I wish we could see
I know,
her
I
in present
did.
day.
I want to see more of her. You're right.
I really like Olivia, though. But I agree. I think Theo's a lot of fun to watch. They all have their, like, good parts, though, you
They
know?
even enjoy Luke's scenes. Like,
Yeah, which is why this is such a great show. Every character is amazing, and every character you can kind of connect with on some certain level. This was just part 1, guys. We're only covering Theo, Steven, and Shirley today. Next week, same time, same day, we will be covering Nell and Luke. We wanted to cover them together because they are twins. It's a twin thing, if you will. But for right now, I want to move into our segment. We took the BuzzFeed quiz, which gave us the percentages of each of our characters that we are like. Taylor, I'm going to shoot it over to you because you're the one who told us about this quiz.
Yes, and I will tweet the link out if you guys want to take it as well after this. So I am 50% Shirley, 20% Theo, 15% Steve, 10% Nell, 5% Luke. So I have like a very much a little like staircase of people who I'm most like.
Oh, Brianna just pulled it up. This is exactly it. These are the questions. There's only like 5 questions.
No, it was super quick.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm 35% Nell and 35% Luke, so right down the middle I'm the twins. And then 15% Theo and 10% Shirley and 5% Steve.
Well, at least you guys have, you know, somebody who are most like. I literally got 20% of each of the siblings.
That's
so
insane.
cool, though. You're so well balanced.
I'm so well balanced. But at the same time, I was hoping that I'd be like one more than the other.
Specific,
Yeah, but I mean, I'm good with being a balance. I guess I'm a all 5 stages of grief.
You're all trained, man.
Yes.
But guys, definitely take out the quiz. I think our engineer Brianna is taking it right now, and I wanna know her results in a second. Let's move into what you guys are looking forward to talking about in the future episodes.
Everything. There's just like certain episodes that I can't wait to talk about.
I'm so
like the 2 storms.
Well, really quick, let's talk about that. What was your favorite episode of the season?
It might be the 2 storms. The cinematography in that one was so brilliant, and I think that one. But again, I don't know. I just like them all so much, but that one was a big favorite for me.
Episode 6, the one with the long shots, which I've read like so many like Twitter threads that Mike Flanagan has posted, watched all the behind the scenes videos. It's fascinating. We'll definitely dig into that on our part 3. I also really liked episode 8, which is where we have Hugh and Steve in the car, and then we have Shirley and Theo in the car as well. I really like episodes that sort of like have really long scenes in very like contained places, because that's just like, I feel like that amps up the conflict so much.
Yes, agreed.
And so I really enjoyed that one too.
Yeah, I think number 5 was my favorite, the bent neck lady.
Oh, that was
by far my favorite episode. I thought that it was just brilliant
that one
television.
Is good too.
And I mean, we'll talk about it.
We discover a lot in that one as well.
That's definitely a Nell storyline, but we'll definitely talk about why that is my favorite next week. Brianna just took the quiz. She, this does not surprise me.
Wow.
Yes, it's similar to Taylor. She's got 15% Shirley, 20% Theo, 15% Steve, 10% Nell, and 5% Luke.
Why is no one else the twins?
No, nobody else wants to die. We've got some news and gossip. I'm going to shoot it over to Taylor because since the show has come out, you guys, there's been tons of news and gossip. There's been tons of fan theories. There have been tons of little Easter eggs that has happened. So definitely, if you guys want to go and check those out, I'm sure you can just Google it. But Taylor, tell us what you found.
Yeah, so one really exciting piece of news. Oh yeah, sorry, I got ahead of myself. Stephen King approves the show, like, million thumbs up from him. His tweet says, "I don't usually care for this kind of revisionism, but this is great. Close to a work of genius, really. I think Shirley Jackson would approve, but who knows for sure."
I mean,
like, I agree.
Stamp of approval by Stephen King is all you need. Yeah.
And then something that just came out today is the Haunting of Hill House homeowners claim that they have witnessed real hauntings. So that's insane.
Well, not going there.
No.
Not
Move.
Airbnb.
Let's stay away from Massachusetts.
Yeah.
Thank you, Taylor, for that. And you guys, we will have other news and segments and stuff for you as we do this 4-part series. Like I said, this is only part 1. I know I keep repeating myself, but we want you guys to stay for all 4 parts. I know we kind of discussed mainly the first 3 episodes. Next week will be the Luke and Nell storyline, which I'm very excited to talk about because I feel like as I said, Theo does propel the story along, but Luke and Nell is really the center of it. They're the babies. And who doesn't love those little 2 actors who play them as children?
Oh, so precious.
So that is our recap of our part 1, The Haunting of Hill House coverage. Any last thoughts, you guys?
I'm just so excited to keep talking about
Me
this.
too. I could do it all night.
Going.
We could do all 4 points tonight, guys, but we're on the time
Ready?
limit. Where can they find you all?
Hi guys, you can find me all over social media at Krista Flentje.
And you guys can find me on Twitter at @alphaba_Ann, and I also will post the link to that quiz and let me know what you guys got, on my Twitter and in the comments. You also can find me on Instagram at Taylor_Gates_.
Please do tweet out that link because I'm sure everybody's very excited about it. I know I was when you told me about it. I am Timothy Michael. You can find me everywhere at I am Timothy Mike. We will see you guys same time, Monday, 10 p.m. next week. Good night, guys.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.